Kira Mulvaney from HBO telling you to check out Jay Calderon and Boxing Talk.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Jay Calderon, Stan Clear Entertainment, and we're about to get into this week's Boxing Talk. Over the past weekend, yours truly, Jay Calderon, was in Las Vegas for one of the most anticipated fights of the year when Gennady Triple G Golovkin defended his middleweight crown against Mexico's biggest superstar, Canelo Alvarez. This was a fight that definitely lived up to the hype, a great matchup between two of the best fighters in the middleweight division of 160 pounds. It started off with a very fast pace when we saw Canelo Alvarez boxing beautifully, landing some very quick counter punches, and Gennady Golovkin pressing the attack forward, landing a powerful jab. I mean, that jab was on point all night long. Canelo Alvarez could not avoid the jab. His head was getting snapped back by that jab, but he was boxing beautifully, circling around the ring. I know a lot of people are going to say he was running. He was trying to get away from Gennady Golovkin's power, but Triple G was just putting on tremendous pressure against Canelo Alvarez, and Alvarez did elect to go to the ropes voluntarily. He was up against the ropes. He spent a lot of time against the ropes, and something that I did not know why he was doing that, but he was fighting off the ropes pretty well, landing those quick counter punches and moving out the way, and then Golovkin was coming in, pressing in with the jab and landing some hard shots. There was times that they met each other in the middle of the ring and had some good exchanges. Canelo Alvarez hit Golovkin with some powerful, hard-hitting shots, some beautiful uppercuts here and there, and also a big right hand later in the fight that did not budge Gennady Golovkin. This man has a tremendous chin, and I knew that he would not get knocked out by the punching power of the smaller man in Canelo Alvarez. Alvarez was a guy that also had a great chin and took some big shots from Gennady Golovkin cleanly. But this was a fight that was a give-and-take matchup. One round for one guy, one round for the other guy. Very close down the stretch. We saw in the beginning rounds that Canelo Alvarez was having some success fighting in spots. Then in the middle rounds, Golovkin started to take control of the fight. And then towards the end of the fight, both guys were just going tit for tat each round, round after round. I had this fight even through 6 rounds, even through 8 rounds. I mean, it was that close of a fight that nobody was really taking command of this fight. Alvarez was doing extremely well, but he wasn't really pressing the attack. He allowed Golovkin to bully him. He allowed Golovkin to pressure him, constantly cutting off the ring and trapping him against the ropes and also in the corners and unloading with some big shots. Now, Golovkin did miss quite often because Canelo's defense was very, very good in this fight. He slipped a lot of punches. You saw a little bit of that Mayweather in him, the way Mayweather was able to do to him in their fight. He took a bit of that style and he used it against Golovkin. I saw this fight looking a lot like Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler. It was that type of fight where Canelo Alvarez was just basically laying on the ropes and also spinning out, using a lot of movement and trying to just flurry and win rounds towards the end of each round, trying to steal those rounds the way Sugar Ray Leonard did. And if you remember, that fight was very controversial as well in the ending, where a lot of people felt that Marvin Hagler won that fight, but Leonard, the most popular fighter, got the decision victory in that fight right there. And that's the same type of blueprint that we saw from Canelo Alvarez, where he engaged sometimes and he threw some quick flurries and he kept on moving away, going to the ropes, and we saw Golovkin pressing the attack, landing the harder shots, landing the powerful jab, and trying to set his man up for the knockout punch, but it never came. The only thing that I really was disappointed in Gennady Golovkin was that he didn't go to the body. I couldn't understand why, when he had the opportunity, when Alvarez was up against the ropes, that he did not unload to the body. Golovkin is a very good body puncher, and we did not see absolutely no body punching from Triple G. This was very shocking to me why Abel Sanchez, his trainer, did not pressure him to go to the body. He was basically headhunting in this fight. He was scoring with some good shots. He was missing a lot of shots, and Alvarez was looking very sharp. A lot of people felt that Gennady Golovkin won this fight 7 rounds to 5, and also a lot of people feel Canelo Alvarez won this fight. I saw this fight as a dead even fight, 6 rounds apiece by both men. I saw Canelo closing out the show in the 12th round. I gave him the 12th round. And if you really look at it, this is how close this fight was. You had one judge that scored it for Canelo, one judge scored it for Triple G, and one judge scored it a draw. A lot of people are not talking about the judge that scored it a draw that would have been the deciding factor of this fight. Who would have won this fight? Everybody's talking about the scorecard that Bird put in. She is a judge that has put in some bad scorecards before. She has a history of not scoring fights properly, and she had a ridiculous scorecard of 10 rounds to 2 for Canelo Alvarez. And this is why this fight is so controversial. It wasn't that it was a very close fight where either man didn't really take total control of the fight. Nobody got knocked down. Nobody got really, truly rocked and hurt in this fight. There were some big bombs that were landed. Both of these guys went toe-to-toe quite a few times. Canelo did use his boxing skills and tried to be out of harm's way, and Triple G did miss a lot of punches. So these guys were fighting a very close fight. If you take one of those rounds that you gave to Gennady or to Canelo Alvarez and give it to the other guy, it would be a dead even draw at 6 rounds apiece, the way I scored it. I knew that this fight was going to be a draw. Once I got to Las Vegas and I started seeing everything around me, the atmosphere, I was like, this fight, if Golovkin does very well in this fight and he doesn't knock him out and it goes to the distance, I felt that it will definitely end in a draw. My predictions going into this fight was that if it goes 12 rounds, Canelo Alvarez would win a decision in this fight. I knew, and I spoke to several people and told them to put their money on a draw. And very fortunately, those people actually won on my advice of putting their bets on a draw. I'm not a gambler. I didn't bet. I wish I did bet it on the draw. I would have won some money. But all in all, it was a great fight. The real true winners of this fight was the fans, because the fans finally got the fight that they wanted. A lot of people tuned in for this fight. There was a lot of celebrities in the house, a lot of people in Las Vegas. The intensity going into this fight was very high from the weigh-in throughout fight week. I mean, it was a great atmosphere and a very big fight for boxing fans. Even though both of them did lack certain things in this fight, a lot of people want to see this fight again. I know I do. It was such a great fight. They have to do it again. Let's forget the scorecard of the ridiculous 10 rounds to 2 that Bird put in, because that's what everybody's really talking about. They're calling this a robbery. This is not a robbery. Nobody lost this fight, but nobody won this fight either. It was a dead draw. Everybody, the fans, the media, a lot of people picking Triple G as the winner. A lot of people picking Canelo Alvarez as the winner. That's how close this fight was, that both judges were undecided and one judge decided that it was a draw. And I felt like a lot of other people also felt that it was worth a draw, because these guys definitely gave a great performance and there is improvement for a rematch. Is it going to be an immediate rematch? There wasn't a rematch clause only for Canelo Alvarez if he lost. And Triple G didn't have a rematch clause. Also, in an event of a draw, there was no rematch clause in place. So either guy can go off and do whatever they want next. They could actually negotiate and try to make another fight, which I don't believe it will happen this year. December is too early for Canelo Alvarez and Triple G to do it again. So I really highly doubt that this fight is going to happen in 2017. So I look for Triple G actually going up against Billy Joe Saunders in December, because both guys are willing to fight, and that's for all the title belts. This is what Triple G has been waiting for. He's been waiting to win all the major title belts in the middleweight division and become the undisputed middleweight king, like Bernard Hopkins and Jermaine Taylor did, as the only ones to hold those titles at 160 pounds. And that's what I believe Gennady Golovkin is going to take next, is the fight against Billy Joe, who also fought over the weekend against Willie Monroe Jr. And that was a fight where Billy Joe Saunders just completely dominated 10 rounds to 2. I had that scorecard, and that was a dominant performance by Billy Joe. He looked better than his last performance. Willie Monroe was very disappointing in that fight. I thought he would fight a lot harder, a lot better, and he just didn't do anything. And Billy Joe, my hat's off to him. He remains undefeated. He's still WBO middleweight champion, and he looks for a big fight, hopefully against Triple G. That's a very good fight that could happen in the UK. I strongly believe that Triple G will beat him and possibly knock him out, because I don't think he could take the punches like Canelo Alvarez did. And, I know he's a good boxer. He's undefeated, but I don't see him getting past Triple G. And I think that it makes it an even intriguing fight because a guy like Canelo Alvarez could fight a guy like Miguel Cotto. I believe truly that Miguel Cotto signed with Golden Boy just so he can have that fight with Canelo Alvarez. And they were expecting Alvarez to win that fight. Is he ready to come back in December? They can have it in Madison Square Garden for Miguel Cotto's farewell fight. That's a great fight that will sell big in New York City. I think the fans would love to come out to see that Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry again. I don't think Miguel Cotto could beat Canelo Alvarez because Alvarez is a big guy, and he showed in the other fight that, you know, Miguel Cotto, even though he boxed pretty well and he did well in the fight, his punches were really no effect to Canelo Alvarez. And Triple G, they said that, you know, they're willing to fight Miguel Cotto. And in Madison Square Garden, that will be a sold-out event. It will be a monstrous fight to have these guys that have a very big fan base on the East Coast in New York City, like Triple G and Miguel Cotto. I'll definitely go to that fight. That will be a great, great fight. But, like I said, I don't think that Miguel Cotto could deal with a guy like Triple G. I think Triple G is just way too big and strong for a guy like Miguel Cotto. I met Cotto. He's a very small guy, you know, for the division. I don't see him having any chance against a guy like Triple G. But I wouldn't mind seeing it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of fans will pay to see that fight. There's a possibility that Canelo Alvarez is not going to be ready to fight anyone in December. Possibly Miguel Cotto will come up with an injury or some type of excuse not to fight in December, and they might push it back to January or February, because I believe we will see a Canelo Alvarez and Miguel Cotto fight. It's a big money fight, and I believe that both of these guys are going to fight each other possibly before Canelo and Triple G fight. And like I said, Billy Joe Saunders versus Triple G is a fight that could happen by the end of the year, and then we can see Canelo Alvarez and Triple G for all the title belts in May, Cinco de Mayo weekend 2018, because that's a fight that's going to be a very big fight. A lot of people want to see this fight. It was a great fight. Who's going to make the adjustments to win the second fight? Canelo Alvarez showed that he had the quicker hands. He showed that he had the better boxing skills, but his stamina wasn't that great. You know, he kind of faded down the stretch, even though he closed out the show pretty well in the 12th round. But there were spots where he looked gassed out, where he was sitting in the corner stretched out. And, you know, Triple G, you know, is he going to really focus on the body this time around? Because if he focuses on the body, I think it's going to be a whole different fight. He landed 218 punches, more than Canelo Alvarez's 169 punches. And if you look at that, 108 of those punches were jabs. Dominated the fight with a jab. 110 were power punches. So he landed some hard power shots on Canelo Alvarez. He didn't land any body shots. Most of the work was to the body for Canelo Alvarez, about 70 head shots. Alvarez did a good mix-up, but he didn't press the issue enough to really take control. I didn't see him winning 7 rounds. He definitely didn't win 10 rounds. I believe he won 6 rounds in this fight, and Triple G also winning 6 rounds in this fight. So I don't have any disagreement with the draw. I think it was a great fight. Let's see it again. But that's my final recap on the fight that took place. Great fight by both men. I tip my hats off to both guys. Team Triple G right here. I was out there in Las Vegas, you know, Triple G gear out, and I just had a great experience. Thank you to all the fans that show me love in Las Vegas. You know, please subscribe to this YouTube channel right here, J Calderon Boxing Talk. Hit the like button, hit that share button. Also, please hit that subscribe button and put your email information in so you get all my notifications once I drop a new video. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and join the Facebook boxing group page. All under the same name, J Calderon Boxing Talk. I'm J Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment. Thanks for your support. Keep watching, and please subscribe.